Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about domain names, and if you're not sure what that is, it's the website address for your website. So for example, ours is fluidwebworks.co.uk. We'll talk about how they work, how to know which ones to buy, some common mistakes that you would like to avoid, and some hot tips that should help your website development ongoing. So let's get started.
So how to name a website and choose a domain name. First of all, how do domain names actually work before I go into choosing it all? A domain name is the address for your website, which we've already talked about, so yoursite.com or, with our example, fluidwebworks.co.uk. You need to pay annually for use of that name, so it's kind of like a subscription, but it's yours once you start paying for it. So it's like you've reserved it. So even if you're not actually ready to start creating your website, it's worth going ahead and getting those domain names so that you've reserved them and no one else can sweep in there and take them from you. You can buy ones that end in all sorts of things. There are more than I can write down here, but I will show you, and examples are .co.uk, .com, .biz, .info, etc., etc. It's usually depending on two different things: your country that you're local to, or the type of organisation or type of website that you have. So .co.uk, .com, .eu, .au or .ca are all examples of country domain names, like CA is Canada. But .gov, .net, .org and .info all tell you something about the website itself. So for a net would be a network, .gov would be a government site in England, or .gov.uk. .org is an organisation, and if it's .org.uk then it's one in England, and so on and so forth. So try to pick your ending depending upon where you live, or where your target market live, more importantly, and what kind of organisation it is. But you can have many and point them all anyway. It's usually very reasonably priced, under £15, depending on what kind of ending you have, but it may be good to buy many, so the prices can kind of stack up. Not to too much, but it just doesn't end up being £15 anymore, $15 anymore. So how do you choose a domain name? There are a few different ways. First question I'd ask you is, have you named your company? And if the internet is a really important part of your company marketing, then it's probably a good idea to not decide on the name of your company until you're sure that you can have the domain name. But it is a judgment call. The reason for this is that if you name your company something, you give your company name and you can't get the domain name, then if someone goes online to go to your website, but there's either nothing there or it sends them to another person's website, then you've done free marketing for them and you're kind of making their user experience more difficult. If you have already named your company and you can't find the domain name, then you can still just get creative about what you name it. And there's usually a few suggestions about alternatives that are provided. I'll show you how to do that anyway. Allow for human error, and as a minimum, I'd say get your local domain, so .co.uk or .au, .ca, whatever, and then .com as well. Just so that if someone goes and puts, I'm sure it's .com, and they just put your website .com, that it will still take them somewhere, and it's okay. Don't give other companies free advertising. By that I mean, if you name your company something and then somebody else already has that domain name, then they might go and have a look for you, and they'll actually find this other person instead, who may even offer the same thing. So you're kind of doing the work for them, the marketing work for them. You can also buy as many domain names as you want and point them to the same website. So don't think that you have to choose one or two. You can choose as many as you want. Like, I've bought so many for everything for Redheads because I just want to make sure that I've got them reserved. And all in all, I think that's probably cost me about £60 for a year, which isn't bad considering that I've reserved that intellectual property in a lot of ways, and we get to use that year on year. The keywords. This is all about search engine optimization, and it's just something that's worth considering but isn't guaranteed. It makes common sense. So I'll explain. When you're creating your domain name, consider getting a domain name that includes your primary keywords for your website, like the words that you want people to find you for if they're searching in Google. And the reason why is this is supposed to make, if you think about it, it kind of makes common sense. If there are a number of websites that are ranking highly for a search term, and one of those websites has the search term in the domain name, then it gives Google maybe a big clue that, yes, that's really, really important for them. like this website really does cater to that keyword, and that it's a good bet to provide the visitors with this one at a higher ranking. So that's the reason why. An example of that might be, I've done a website called for a company called Testcrete, and they do concrete testing. And we've included concrete testing in one of the domain names, so it's Testcrete concrete testing. You may be approached to buy keyword-rich domain names, usually megabucks, and it's really a judgment call whether you decide to go for that or not. An example would be with everything for redheads. I was approached to buy redheads.com, and that was a few £1,000s. So someone swooped in there, they've gone and got it thinking that it will be very valuable to somebody, and then they tried to sell it to them for a lot more. So that's a big difference between $15 and thousands. But they know that they can do it. And an example of that is, I think that B&Q, a company in England, I think bought DIY.com or something like that. I don't know if they paid a lot of money for it or that they just were really clever and swept in there immediately and got it, but that's an example of them using that. It's really up to you whether you decide to go for it and if it's value for you. You can always combine your company with your domain names for a cheaper solution. So instead of getting redheads.com, the company, everything for redheads, the company, has redheads in the name anyway, so that's good. Or my example of Testcrete and concrete testing is a lot cheaper than just having concretetesting.com. You're not guaranteed to get more traffic. This is not set in stone, but it just is. It makes common sense, and if you can do it for a few extra bucks, few extra pounds, then hey, why not? Have a go. So I just thought I'd give you a quick rundown of how to actually look for domain names. I use GoDaddy a lot, and it's worth maybe trying to pick wherever you buy your domain names from, try and buy your hosting from the same place. So you might want to have a look at the hosting packages as well before going ahead and buying. But if, for example, you're just looking for a domain name, I'm going to use the example of Food Love Diary. This is the example that I used in one of my courses, so it's just easier to be consistent with this. So foodlovediary.com, and I'm just going to see if it's available. This is just a blog where I'm talking about lots and lots of food. So you can see that it's already taken, and that's probably because I've bought it. But you can see that underneath that they've given me lots of alternatives. So .com's not available, but .co is, .info, .net, .org, and all of these, .us. You can also see more options just here. So you can see there are a lot of different options, and you can just tick on the ones that you want and have them. Now, I might choose that maybe I don't want to have that because I can't have the .com, because I don't want to have .org and for someone to accidentally put in .com and go there. But instead, underneath, these are variations you may also consider. So I might prefer to do one of these. CookingLoveDiary.com could be good. Nutrition Love Diary. I would possibly avoid doing anything that's hyphenated because you're relying on people to remember to put those hyphens in there. Gourmet Food Blog, that is very expensive. So, this is a brilliant example. Premium domains, this is just very, very expensive ones, and they're a lot more money. And let's have a look. There's, country specific. So you can have a look through here and make a decision based on that, or you could just start again and just do a different combination. So that's how it works. Now, I think I mentioned that I've done everything for redheads.co.uk and I've got .com, everything else. So I'm just going to show you how that works. I'm on everything for redheads.co.uk at the moment, but if I just put in .com here at the top and just press return, then it's still going to take me straight back to the same site. And you can do that within the admin section of your host or domain controller. Quite straightforward, or they'll help you too if you're not sure how. I'm going to just show you again. I put in .info. I'm pretty sure I got .info. And again, it just takes you to the right place. So this can work with your website for as many domain names as you want to. So action time. If you are ready to have a look at your domain names, then you can search for a company name on a site like GoDaddy.com, and I'll put the link below if you want to have a look. Is it available, and can you be creative if it's not? Just have a look at the alternatives, see what you want to do. Can you get your local domain and the .com? If you can't get the .com, is it worth considering maybe trying to change things around if you can't get both? And have you looked at the companies that have those domain names? It could be Fluid WebWorks is kind of a good example, because when I wanted to name my company, I found that somebody had fluidwebworks.com in Canada, but when I looked at their company website, they weren't really using it. Like, they hadn't updated it since 2007. So I contacted him and I said, "Would you mind selling it to me? Are you using it?" And he was fine. It cost me a bit more than it would have done if I'd have just bought it off GoDaddy or something like that, but it was worth it for me to be able to name the website what I wanted to. And if I hadn't have got it, I probably would have called it Fluid WebWorks UK or something like that, but I just preferred the more international feel. So that is an example. So that's it for this lesson. There are two things that you absolutely need in order to have a website, and one of those things is your domain name, the other one is hosting. But once you have your domain name set up and sorted out, then you are a long way towards having your own website. It's a very important part of your whole marketing mix. So I hope it's been valuable. If it has, please share it with other people, tweet it, like us on Facebook or on YouTube, and follow the channel. And I'll see you next time. Bye.